Yeah, I know. I'm late to be talking about it. Sue me. Side order looks really cool. I want to talk about it. We've seen this location before from the earliest, I think, images that we got of it. This very much looks like it's the Splatoon 2 lobby, with the shop fronts over here, the shoal over here, the tower in the middle, which is now replaced by the tower that it looks like we're going to be climbing floor by floor as we go through this game. These branch-like structures look like they're meant to resemble dead coral reef. So this feels like a sense of like Team Order, but like taken to its extreme, where it's like more of a Skynet sort of, well, the only way to create order is for everything to die and be sterilized forever, that kind of thing. Which is an unimaginative way of thinking about order, but is good for a dystopian setting. So we've got our Agent 8, who I believe it is confirmed, the same character from Octo Expansion. And then we've got this drone here, which is referred to as Pearl. It's got her crown. Maybe Pearl speaks through it. Maybe this is somehow the essence of Pearl. I don't know. Maybe Pearl had an accident, and this is what she is. But I don't know. She's still about the same height. We've got dualies here. This might be a new kit for the dualies, or it might just be a reskin of a current kit. But dualies are also known to be Pearl's main weapon. And we've got Agent 8 kind of hang gliding in from Pearl. So, there's some question about whether this is a platforming mechanic, or if this is just like the basically her riding the espresso machine in as a respawn. And we've got them manufacturing something here. Chara called the mem cakes. If I remember correctly, the mem cakes are like really small, so I don't know if that's exactly what it is. But the concept of memories being manufactured is a very kind of dystopian order kind of idea, so I do kind of like that line of thinking. Then we've got this orb-looking thing, which at first I thought was going to be the like battery cell that you shoot in Octo Expansion to get the auto-scroller to kind of move forward. It's not exactly an auto-scroller because you have to scroll it. I don't know. From the escape sequence, you probably know what I'm talking about if you've played it. But it looks like this is spawning the little fishy. All the fishies come out of this. And they've got their skeletons showing. They've got very clear skin. And they've got these goofy-looking mouths, and they've got red eyes. And so they're sort of like salmonids, I guess, but bony. And they're not walking upright either, I guess. They're kind of swimming. Their ink looks black, which is cool. We haven't really had black ink before, for probably gameplay reasons more than anything else. But very stylized. We see the damage numbers are different here, which is also really cool. And the whole color palette is just white, black, and this bright glowing red of the eyes of the fish and the ink tank and everything. Very kind of HAL 9000 sort of aesthetic. Also worth noting here, Chara points out that the damage numbers here are white for Agent 8, and then the purple ones are attributable to the Pearl drone. So it does damage for you. That's a meat grinder, which that's kind of an uncomfortable idea. We did have, a blender in Octo Expansion that the main character is put into and threatened with. So I don't know how dark they're going with this. And here we run into Oct, aka Dead Fish. Dead Fish is an in-game musician from previous games, and maybe modeled after Dead Mouse or something like that. There are a bunch of different possible reference points, but God, if you were German, then when I tweeted out, hey, acht means 8 in German, you were immediately going and correcting everyone's pronunciation of it before anyone actually tried to pronounce it. It's acht. It's not acht. It's not acht. It's acht. Okay, get it right, guys. So that was all of the German-speaking audience. And then for the 7 of you who are Dutch, you were all like, hey, wait, it's 8 in Dutch, too. Don't forget about the Dutch. Don't worry, we haven't forgotten about the Dutch. I just don't speak your language. Another bystander who got sucked in. So, this feels very similar to the Octo expansion story, where you are in a system and trying to escape it in some way, or trying to, I don't know, find your way up and out or destroy it or something like that. There's also possible explanation here for the lore of the sanitized Octarians. There's a color palette switch between normal Octarians and the sanitized ones. Sanitized having this like neon green skin and different colored eyes. And there's some connection to the boss of Octo Expansion, how it shoots sanitizing ink. So it's pretty unclear lore-wise what exactly that means. There's always been this kind of like motif of mind control with all of the Octarians that are evil, and with generally the bad guys. So Dead Fish, or Acht, to some extent got involved in all of that. They have a bandage on their left arm here, and there is, when we see Agent 8's left arm, I believe there is something there that might be getting covered up on Acht for maybe trailer reasons. But we can kind of see it even there in the lower left corner, that there's here as well. There's a little bit of a line on their arm somewhere down there. Almost looks kind of plasticky or prosthetic. But then going back a second, we've got this palette, which is Pearl's palette is what they call it. So Pearl is again somehow involved here. Floor selection. So next floor is the 16th floor. So we're climbing up, and that's our method of progression. And there's a money system, just like there was in Octo Expansion in the single player of Splatoon 3. And you get a different reward depending on the challenge of the mission that you choose to play. And you've got some different options here: easy, normal, and hard. And it looks like there's a different reward for completing each floor. You get one of these paint chips that you can put into the palette. And it looks like there's a progression. So the next splash damage paint chip that you get will take you from 160% splash damage to 190%. So you're powering yourself up as you go. There's a lot of speculation here that this is a roguelike, where you're going to go through as many floors as you can, kind of Slay the Spire style, that came back again. And you're getting different upgrades every time you go up, and you have to choose what those upgrades are going to be. And you get to choose, what kind of floor you want to look at. There's spiraling slope floor, there's exposed winding floor, and then there's sitting duck valley floor. So these are all floors of the building, and it's also describing their kind of level geometry. It looks like sitting duck being, very exposed, not a lot of cover to work with or anything. You're on your own, which would make it more difficult, obviously. And then there are these different icons next to all of them. We've got what looks like the kind of egg spawner thing that we saw in the trailer earlier on the easy floor. On the normal floor, we've just got a splat zone. So it looks like maybe part of the gameplay is just play the objective mode in some modified way for the single player, kind of similar to how there were some missions in Splatoon 2 in this single player, I think it was, where you had to just push the Rainmaker a certain distance. Maybe that was Octo Expansion. I'm forgetting which of the two it was. And then on the hard, I'm having trouble really determining what that image refers to at all. Maybe it's obvious and I'm just not seeing it, but I haven't seen any speculation about it. Also noteworthy that one of the upgrades is Drone Splat Bomb. So the drone can be upgraded, can have different sub-weapons, or maybe it always says Splat Bomb, but this is an upgrade to that sub-weapon. And there we can see on the upper right a kit that I hope we don't actually get in the main game. Because if, the Enperry Splat Dualies from Splatoon 2 had Curling Bomb and Inkjet. This has Curling Bomb and Reef Slider. Please don't give it Reef Slider. Please just give it the Inkjet. The Inkjet would be so much cooler. Everyone would like that so much better. Anyway, and then we've got the Splat Bomb being shown there for the drone. I'm not sure what common tones refers to. Tones, referring to colors, might have something to do with the upgrade system. So maybe this is something that's common to all playthroughs or is permanent throughout or something like that. Hard to really guess just based on what we see here. Although we can see that the icon from one of the common tones matches the icon that it says on the left in support. So maybe it's just you get an ink recovery buff or something like that from that common tone. Hard to say. So we go to the exposed winding floor, which was the normal difficulty. There's some cool visual flair here that, I had to go through kind of frame by frame to be able to see, but it might have some significance. So, first of all, note that in a lot of these shots, Agent 8 seems particularly powered up. They've got, a Dragon Ball Z sort of visor-looking thing with a big antenna on it. Their ink tank has these glowing images on it, and notice how low the sub-weapon line is on it. So it's clearly been powered up quite a bit already. Because if this thing has a curling bomb, that should normally be 70% of the ink tank, and it's looking more like 20% of the ink tank from this image. Also, on the weapons themselves, we've got these glowing holographic outlines around them, which seem to indicate that those are powered up in some way. And here we've got a lot of images of this sort of Matrix-looking bunch of glyphs, I guess. The story of the Matrix is that people are living in a simulation where they're kind of plugged into a computer neurally that is simulating a world around them, and that people are living a lie that they're really just being farmed for heat and electricity. And this is a pretty clear visual reference. You change these to green and we're bordering on copyright infringement. So maybe there's something to that idea that's, everything is sterile and dead here because it's in the computer, it's not real. Maybe this is a response to a technological singularity. Maybe this is one of those dystopian worlds where the people, became too attached to their computers and ceased to live a real life outside. Maybe this is a lesson teaching us all that we just need to go out there and touch some grass and add some color to our lives in that way. Who's to say? And here we have the fully kitted out Agent 8. You can see very clearly all of the upgrades on the weapon, the visor, the ink tank. This appears to be a boss encounter. We basically don't know anything about this except that there's a picture of a torpedo up here. Some eyes, again, very HAL 9000 looking things. And then we've got, again, this cool, like, glitchy design that almost looks like shattered screens here and there. Shattered, like, computer screens. They get this sort of cracking pattern and also the colors. And then it glitches out. So, I think this looks very cool. The art design is very, very evocative, and it's a really cool change of pace from the way that the game currently looks. We don't know very much, and that's by design. It's a story mode. We don't want to give away the story, and I'm glad that they haven't. Obviously, this will lead to rampant speculation, but you know what? I'm happy to be surprised, and I'm looking forward to playing it when it comes out. It's not coming out until spring 2024. At the very earliest. You know, they have been known to delay things sometimes to make sure that they meet their measure for quality. So it could be even longer than that. So I'm not trying to, you know, get super hyped and excited right now because the adrenaline would probably, you know, take a year or two off my life by the time we actually got around to the day that it's releasing. But I'm definitely looking forward to it. And there's a lot of really cool potential motifs that they could play off to make a very interesting thematic story out of this. So looking forward to this with much interest. Hope you all enjoyed watching, and you have a good day.